Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Super excited that you're here and very excited to have one of our ambassadors from our organization on here with us tonight. Um, she is, I'm just excited to introduce this lady because she will be sharing with us how to book a group cruise from beginning to end and how to even relate with the clients that are going to go on that cruise. Kelly has been featured on the IntelliTravel dashboard as one of the top 50 in travel agent sales out of IntelliTravel's 78,000 agents. And she attributes much of her success to booking cruises and selling multiple group cruises at any given time. So she is more than qualified to give us this training tonight, and it is being recorded. So I'm going to get out of the way and go ahead and turn this over to Miss Kelly Paw. You are muted, Kelly. There you go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I hope everybody is having a good night and that you're excited about doing this. As Cindy said, I have booked a lot of travel, and a lot of it has been started out with just booking cruises, and then I figured out that booking group cruises was a quick way to increase your sales and, of course, in turn, increase your commission. It is easier to answer questions for a whole group of people in a Facebook group or in some kind of group email or group chat than it is to have 50 cruises booked by 50 separate people and be answering all of their questions. So that's one of the things that, to me, it's almost an easier thing to do than to just book 10 or 15 separate cruises a month, which of course I love doing that too, and I will. So my hope is that most of you are registered with Carnival, with GoCCL. I understand that many of you tried to and could not. Just so you know, Cindy has addressed that with someone, with Tara. I know Heather Wooden asked the question in our ambassador group about it and that somebody was going to look at it there. And I also have reached out to someone. I've gotten a couple of different answers about why that's happening, but hopefully it'll be resolved quickly and that you'll be approved as to log into GoCCL. But I'm hoping that this is still helpful to you. And I'm telling you that we are recording it. So you will be able to sit and go through this in the same way we're doing it tonight and still book yourself a group cruise. So what we had asked is that you come to this event with 2 devices, one that's logged into GoCCL and one that you can listen or see me or see the screen that I'm going to share on. The reason we wanted you to do that is that we hope that you're planning to book a group cruise during this event tonight. By chat or show of hands or however you can communicate it, how many of you already have chosen a cruise and a date? And if you have, either show me like this, or you can write it in you can raise your hand in lots of you. Yay, I'm so glad to see that, because that's really how we were hoping that this would work tonight. And I am sorry for those of you that tried to get registered with Carnival. Of course, we had no idea that was going to be a problem. And we will help you when you get registered. First, we'll refer you back to this. And then second, I'll be glad to help anybody that needs help. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen and hope that I have my screen open. Let's see. All right, so we're going to go. Can you guys see GoCCL on my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm shrinking you guys so that I can see my whole screen. All right. So what we do when we book a group cruise, the first thing, of course, we have to decide what kind of group we're targeting. So we've discussed that a little bit in the past, and I'll just briefly say there are a couple of different kinds of groups you can do. You can do just a random group that you create, like with a theme, a girlfriend getaway, a sweetheart cruise around Valentine's Day, a sail into summer cruise in the summer, St. Patrick's Day, any kind of theme that you come up with, quilters, a sports team, whatever. So hopefully you've thought about who you're going to target, or what theme you're going to use to try to sell your cruise. Just so you know, I cannot see the chat. If you guys put questions in chat, somebody let me know. I need to stop and look at those or something at some point. All right, so we're going to open our screen now, and hopefully on your second device. Open GoCCL and sign in. And when you are there, you're going to go over here to booking, and you see that it says create a booking. So we're going to go and click on group bookings. All right. If you know the date that you're going to try to find, try to book, and I'm going to tell you what I do. I, ahead of time, usually just open regular, like what everybody in the world sees, Carnival.com, and I just scroll through the cruises because it's easy to compare the pricing, and it shows a little map on the front of where it's going, and I just like type in a departure port or a destination that I want to go to or whatever, and I just kind of look, and that's how I start looking for the cruise I'm going to book. And sometimes I'll do things like, okay, if I'm going to do a spring break cruise for Guilford County, the county I live in North Carolina, then I'm going to use their spring break date. So I would just go here, and I'll go ahead and show you what you're going to do right now is put in the date that you chose for your cruise if you have a date. So I'm going to put in June 16th. And it gives you a 30-day range, and that's fine. You can put the end date if you want to, you don't have to. And then the group type, this will be an affinity group. That means they have something in common. An affinity group could be a family reunion, a group of friends, people that all work for the same company, people with a certain interest. They have something in common. And that's generally what I always put. And then on my ship, I think I'm going to put, so you're going to right now put in your date and put in your group type, which is most likely an affinity cruise. Holiday sailing would be over Christmas or something like that. But I typically end up doing an affinity. So I'm going to choose my ship. And it eliminates the things that are not possible. So the only choice I have is 2 to 5 days. And at that point, I don't have to put the departure. It's going to show me what is available. And you click search. So have you guys gotten to this point now where you see the cruise that you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm going to choose this sailing out of Charleston on June 16th. And I'm going to select the sailing. Oh, it says we booked the maximum number of, okay, so I'm going to click on one. I'll click this one and see if it lets me do it. All right, so it opens up to this page, and I want to explain a few things. You should see IntelliTravel as the agency name if you're signed in properly. And then the logged in as should be your name. And you're going to enter a group name, and you can see mine just auto-populate because I use these a lot. I do a lot of girlfriend getaways, a lot of groups. I just put Friends of Oak Ridge Travel, and then I market it however I want to. So I'm going to put that I'm doing a girlfriend getaway. Actually, let's see. I'm going to do sail into summer. All right. And if you look, it tells you the ship over here. You actually can click on it and get information about it. It tells you the sail date and the duration. And these are all things that you're going to want to make a note of. So I start every group cruise with a spiral notebook. And on the front, I write the name of the cruise and the dates. And then I open it up and make sure you have all of this information. And sometimes I'll just write it all in Sharpie on the front. But like where it says Bahamas, I can click it. It shows me the ports of call for each day and the time. So always make a note of that, because I'm going to use that when I market my cruise. And people always want to know, you know, where you're going and all of that. So has everybody named their cruise something that's doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the next thing is fun points or flexi price. Those are you hear people talk about amenity points. Carnival calls them fun points. Some cruise lines call it amenity points. So basically, there are a couple of things you can do. With fun points, you can use those points and see there's always a suggested number. So on this cruise, they put 3. A lot of times I do 4 amenity or fun points, because let me see if it'll. All right. If you click on that, it gives you a PDF, which is not opening. There we go. That explains what they are. And like this one, it tells you the different ways you can use it. You can use fun points to give things to your clients. Can you guys see this thing that says Carnival Fun Points right now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So up at the top, you will see it says minimum staterooms required. So that you have to have 5 staterooms to use those amenity points. A lot of people think you have to have 8 because technically they say you need 8 rooms for a group. If you have sold 5 rooms, then they will allow you still to use these fun points, and they still honor your group pricing. So, and truthfully, your group pricing is honored from the first cabin. So even if no one else signs up, those clients that pay in full before the final payment due date still are going to get their pricing, the group pricing. They're not going to get these amenities. And I don't tell people about the amenities. I don't use them as a sales tool unless I know for a fact that I have like 6, 7, 8 rooms already booked. And I'll explain that a little bit later. But the way you choose them is by what you want to give your clients. So I actually have a cruise, that first date that I had picked. I have a cruise June 16th. And I am going to do this Bon Voyage champagne and chocolates for 2 points. And then a bottle of wine on the 3rd day or the 2nd day with 1 point. That's going to be my 3 points. And when they deliver it, if I call groups right after your final payment date, you call groups, and that's when you plan your dining times and who's going to sit where in your group and all of that. But you also have to assign your amenity points by the final payment due date. So you always want to make a note in your calendar before the final payment to call groups and assign your amenity points. That means you're going to choose what you're going to do with those points. So that's if I were going to have 3 points, what I would do. One thing you can do is change it to 0 points and reset it. If it'll do it. It didn't do it. You can call and do it if it won't let you, but you can actually call and tell them that you don't want any points. You want a no amenity rate. You know what it does? It lowers your rate and you're going to be lower than any of the published rates that people can see. So if you just want to have the least expensive cruise and you don't want to send them things to the room, or sometimes I'll do 4 amenity points on a longer cruise. I can get a $50 onboard credit per cabin for 3 points and a bottle of wine for 1 point. And I've spent 4 points and they think I gifted them a $50 onboard credit. Usually I have a Facebook group of all the people that are booked, and I will tell them in the group. I actually have a little thing I Googled and found that says surprise, and it has like a $50 and a red thing. And I tell them, just wanted to share something exciting with you. I just added a $50 onboard credit to every cabin that is booked, and I will add it to every cabin that's booked in the next 4 days. And people feel a sense of urgency, and then I get more people to book. Truthfully, in the end, they're all going to get the $50 onboard credit, but it's a sales tool that way. But I don't announce it until after I know that we've qualified for those amenity points. And I don't ever announce it on the 5th cabin, because inevitably somebody cancels in a group before the final payment date or before the sale date. And then when you call to assign your amenity points, if you tell them that you want to send a bottle of champagne and chocolates, you say, can you please put a note with it? My clients get something that says, so glad you joined us on the girlfriend getaway, Bon Voyage, Kelly Paul / Oak Ridge Travel. And they think I sent them chocolates and champagne. And then 2 days later, they think I sent them a bottle of wine. And they appreciate it. One's $35 a bottle and up on a ship. So they like it. And there are a lot of non-alcoholic things. I just knew my audience in that group, and that would be appreciated. So then once you take care of choosing your fun, how many fun points you want, and you can modify them. I don't know why it didn't let me go to 0, but you can change it to 4 or 2 or whatever you think. And again, you can click on this fun points thing to see what the points are going to be used. You can use them for. You can actually print that thing out too and just keep it. And I posted it in Gold Star, and we're going to invite you to a group. Everybody participating tonight is going to be invited into a private Facebook group so that I can help you navigate selling your cruise after we get them set up. So the next thing we're going to do is choose our cabins. If you do the Carnival group training, it says that you cannot include 4A, 6A, 8As, which are, so 4s are interior cabin. This is, if you're taking notes, this is a good note. 4s are interior cabins. 6 are ocean views. 8s are balconies. 4A is on the bottom level at the front or the back. 4B is midship on that first level or front and back of the second level. And it goes up from there. So 4C is midship on the second level or front and back of the third level. D is the midship of the third level or the front and back of the fourth. I mean, it just goes up like that. So basically, the higher your letter, the higher up in the cabin you are. But I typically don't include A's, 4A's, 6A's, or 8A's, not because Carnival says you can't, because it will let me do it usually. But I don't include them because most people don't prefer to be at the front or the back of the ship. At the front of the ship, you feel more motion because you're going into the waves, and the back of the ship. I mean, honestly, I'll do the back of the ship, but there are some people who don't like to be that far from the elevators, or they just want to be midship because it's the smoother sailing point. So I usually choose B's and up. Now, if you look down here, it says total max requests allowed for this sailing is 50. That means I can choose 50 cabins. What Carnival and what I recommend is that you think about how many you really think you're going to sell. If you think you're going to sell, like say you're actually just talking to a girl that says, hey, I want to invite a bunch of friends and whatever. And she thinks she has at least 6 cabins or 7 cabins. I'd probably reserve 20 cabins. And I would split them between interior, ocean view, and balcony. What I personally find is I sell the most balconies and then ocean views. And I usually have a few people that do interior. And if I have friends who I know are on a budget, or clients that I know are price shopping and really are going to compare this to something else, then I will quote them a 4A, the lowest interior cabin, and I will put them in the back, not at the front. But so what you do now is you're going to decide how many. So I'm going to say that I'm going to choose 24 cabins. So I'm going to pick, I'm going to do 6 4Bs. And I'm going to do 6. I'm going to do 8 of these ocean views and 8 balconies. And I have 2 more. And what I'm going to do, only because I know this on this ship, I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to do 2 4Fs. This is kind of more complicated, and you can stick to all Bs if you want to. And I'm going to change this. I have some clients that like to be on a higher floor on a balcony. So I'm going to pick 2 8Ds just in case I have people that are going to say, I want to be higher. The reason I do some higher interior is sometimes you'll have a group and everybody does a balcony and they're all in one section. And these people can't afford a balcony or don't want a balcony, and they still want to be up on the floor with the balconies, because balconies you typically don't even start until you're on like the 6th floor of the ship and up. So if I do some higher interior choices, I can usually put them across the hall from the rest of the group that's in balconies. If you ever need help with that part, let me know. So right now, think about how many people you want to, or how many rooms you want to hold. The reason you want to hold more now than you need is if you only hold 6 because you think you know 6 people that are going to probably go. If more decide to go and you want to add more cabins, it's going to be the prevailing price for that day. So the ones you hold now until a certain date, which I'll show you that in a minute, they're going to hold them for you until that date. Pay attention to this column right here that says a number out to the side of the type. That's the maximum. So I could only do 8 of these 8 4Bs. I could not do 10 or 12 or whatever. So sometimes too, if I think I'm going to do a bunch of interior, I might choose 8 4Bs and 8 4Cs. And you see the price difference is only like $2. But that's how you accommodate that. So once you have done that, you are going to save and continue. Before we check this, where we have read and agreed with the marketing guidelines, which you should do at some point, I'm going to show you a few things on this. First of all, this now just shows the ones that I have selected. The rate code for a group is usually PGY. Some great selling points about having a group cruise. One is that it is fully refundable until the final payment date. A lot of times the PGY rate ends up being the same as the lowest non-refundable rate, like the early saver sale, or on the in the regular rates that they offer. So if you send out these rates and then somebody is looking and comparing, you're going to be pretty much comparing to them. If anybody ever said, does it really matter if I book into the group or can I book myself? Well, our rate is non-refundable. I mean, their rate is non-refundable. Our rate is fully refundable up until the final payment date. Those are words you need to say and know. These rates are fully refundable up until final payment date. Huge selling point in group cruises. And it also, for people who are on the fence, I will say, if I were you, I'd go ahead and put a deposit down because there, we have limited rooms and it's fully refundable up until the final payment date. All right, I'm going to show you, if you click here on guidelines, this shows that by January 21st, I have to have $25 per person for all of those rooms for them to keep holding those rooms. If I don't have it, then they release those rooms back in the general thing. I can still sell at my group rate, but they won't be specifically held for me anymore. By February 21st, I have to have $150 per person. Now I'm going to be honest with you. If you see me advertise a group cruise, usually you are going to see me emphasize that the deposit of $150 per person is required for me to actually book and assign a cabin. I encourage you to try to go ahead and collect the full deposit of $150 when they book. The only time I ever use the $25 per person, which I never use, I always, the lowest I go is $50 per person. The reason the only reason I use that is if I have people like my daughter's friends who are younger, and you know, $150 might be a lot of money for them to come up with at one time, but they could come up with 50. The reason I don't do 25 is I found early on that if people only put $25 down, they're not really committed. And it's very easy for them to not feel obligated and just say, yeah, I'm not going to do that, because they still feel like they owe so much. If I can get them to put $150 down, and your deposit might not say $150, what your deposit is going to be for whatever cruise you've done. I'm going to stop for a minute and look at the questions. All right. Let's see. April, I'm doing the Mardi Gras in July.
Good, you can fill me in. It looks amazing.
I'm going January 1st, 2nd. Galaxy S9 says mine doesn't say that. Where would you do that? Is that something I need to answer? I don't know what that means.
I think she's saying it's not showing her the number of rooms. Let me see. She can't save and continue without a number of rooms. And you can save the rooms, let her know that, without being tied into anything. I don't think she put that.
You're saving the rooms, but you're not putting any money down. Just save the rooms. And Kim, you can't change it later in here, I don't think, but it doesn't matter. No one sees that but you. You can call. I put Friends of Oak Ridge Travel like most of the time, and then I decide what I'm going to call the group and market it as after the fact. So you can call it whatever you want to. And truthfully, I have sold more than one group into one group booking, and the people don't know it. I had a girlfriend getaway going and a solo traveler cruise going. And in the end, I sat all the solo people together at dinner and all the other people. And as far as Carnival is concerned, it's one big group. So they gave me a dining kind of a layout, and I just chose where to do everybody. So I sold 2 different groups into the same sailing and just used different names depending who I was marketing to. You get other agents' cruises. All right, Yvette's lost. What if no one buys? If nobody buys, it's gonna be okay. Your cruise will just go away if you haven't put any money on it. And I wait to do if I'm planning on hosting a cruise, like a girlfriend getaway, and I'm going to go, I don't buy my room until I make sure I have somebody going. Who is Galaxy S9? Send me a message privately and tell me who this is so I can help you. What is your favorite room? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I do have a question. So
Mhm.
if, after you book the group, how do you book yours separately, or do you go ahead and input your room in on this layout?
I put my room in the group. I'm going to show y'all in a minute how to birth a cabin. I put mine in the group unless sometimes I have really good offers from Carnival. So we're kind of getting ahead of where we are, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. So when you book your cruise and we go to birth it in there, you will see that you can, it shows you all the rate options for that client. And you can choose a different rate. Like there, if you have a client that, like say it's already February 21st on mine and the full deposit's due, but they tell me they don't have $150, I can go find the early saver with a reduced deposit and group them into birth them into my group. I just tell them ahead of time, you have a non-refundable rate deposit. That means if you cancel, blah, 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 explain that rate to them. But I can birth them into it. The only kinds of cabins you cannot birth into a group is an interline rate. So if you're wanting to get a travel agent rate, you can't book you into the group. If you want a casino rate, you cannot book it into a group. And those kinds are not eligible for the amenities. I book myself casino rates if I know I have plenty of people going in my group. And then when I handle my dining with the groups department, the groups dining people, I just connect my dining to the people in the group. And they just let me put myself in my cabin with my group. Otherwise, and the group has no idea. They're not going to see a list of who's in the group from Carnival ever. So my favorite room type personally to sell for client recommendations. This is funny. This is kind of bad, but since COVID, it's been really easy to sell balconies because I just say, I personally think I'm going to do a balcony because right now I really like the idea of being able to have fresh air. And it's worked. I mean, I'm telling the truth. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to mislead them. It is, I do feel better having a room with fresh air, and I'm finding that people are agreeing with that as a good idea. I don't know how to change my name in here. This is Christina. Can I change ships? If you want to change your ship, are you trying to change the booking that you just made? If you haven't confirmed it yet, it isn't confirmed anyway. If you want to start a different group, just go back and start over from the beginning. And I do that sometimes too. I'll do it and then I'll think, oh, I really don't like where this goes. And then I'll go back and do one somewhere else. The second payment, yes, the second payment includes the first. So they have to have a total of 150 on my example. Some cruises have to have 200 and some have to, it's different. But this amount just holds a spot in the group. The January 21st, the February 21st amount is an actual deposit that you're going to berth their cabin. And then they have to pay in full. The final payment date, you hear that a lot, the final payment date is April 6, 2022 on mine. All right, hang on, So yes, when you're berthing your cabin, you can either call in to groups. She asked, can we add junior suite or regular suites to the group? You can't, they won't let you add them. You can only do, they say on their training that you can only do 4B, 6B, 8B and up, but not suites, not the captain's suite or anything like that. But in the last cruise I went on, we actually had somebody that we called in and got them a suite, and it was booked into the group. They just won't let you hold it. All right, can I go over the placement of cabins again? Can I have 2 groups at the same time? Yes, you can have, I have like 5 groups right now. You can definitely have multiple groups going. Sometimes I'll have one that's geared more towards families, like a spring break or a sail into summer. And I try to plan that around school calendars. And then I'll do a girlfriend getaway that I try to do a shorter cruise over a weekend that a mom could get away or whatever. The placement of cabins. Yes, we'll go over that. Yeah, I noticed for the Mardi Gras as well that there was not a ocean view option when I booked it. What I assume, because this is what it usually is that they have a limited number available, so they're not going to let us hold them. But when you go to Bertha Cabin, you can actually find the rate and use it. All right. So just quickly, some of you are going to go, why is she doing this? But I'm just going to do this really quick. I went to bookings. I went to group bookings because I'm making a booking. I chose my date. Just put that. I did my type of group affinity. I picked the Sunshine. I search. I think this is the one I had to pick because it wouldn't. I really already have a group on that one. So that on this June 16th, that's why it said you already have the maximum number. I couldn't. It wouldn't let me do it. And then I put my Sail into Summer, my group name, and then I pick my rooms. And the easiest thing to do when you're first starting is to pick 4B, 6B, and 8B. And those are respectably located rooms with competitive prices, so that if they're pricing themselves, they'll get it. And then we saved. And then, so that shows what rooms I have. I still could book other rooms. Like I mentioned it, sometimes I have clients who want to go higher on the ship or whatever. I can still do it. And then you always click here to see your guidelines. That's your first deposit due date. I try to get this amount, the February amount, by the January date, so that I actually have people berthed into the cabins. And I don't explain that there's a $25 option or a $50 option usually. A complimentary policy. You get one berth, one bed for every 15 full fare guests based on an average cruise rate. The full fare guests are the first and second guest in a cabin. So after you have 15 people, first and second people in a cabin, so like 8 cabins booked, then you're going to get one bed. The fare part of it, not the taxes and port fees, and it'll be the average cruise rate for all the people you've booked so far. So I had a group of 64 that sailed on the Sunshine January 25th of 2020, right before COVID. With my 64 people, I got lots of, excuse me, a lot of money because I got one berth, the $1 amount, average cruise rate for every 15 guests. So the money ended up being like, I think they did it like $424 was the full fare without the taxes and port fees, the average fare. So I got $424 times 4. So I actually upgraded myself to a balcony by myself, and it paid for it. And we can talk more about that later. Right now, that's probably not something you have to worry about. So you click this. Yes, I have read. Go back and read these when you can, and you confirm your booking. All right, and it always reminds you up here, there are 0 amenity points selected, with 3 remaining that must be assigned by April 6th. So that's by your due date, right? This shows the pricing information. Your commission should say 16%. Does anybody's not say 16? Okay, it should say 16. All right, there are a couple of things I want to show you. First of all, this make payments. You click fund ship pay. If you decide you're going to take $25 or $50 payments, you come here. It's got your booking number here. You click submit and it will walk you through taking credit card information for that person. Be sure to put only the amount that they're going to pay. But if you do this, then later you're going to have to go back and assign that money to their cabin when they're ready to pay the rest. That's another reason why I like to get the full deposit amount, because it takes away some of the steps. But it's not hard to do. You can call groups and they will walk you through it or help you do it, or you can message me and I'll help you do it. All right, so to birth a guest, you're going to click here where it says birth guest. So if let's see if I have my own VIFP number. Oh, that's Royal Caribbean. That wouldn't be the right one.
Excuse me, Kelly.
Yes.
I can't get to that page. At the bottom of my screen, there aren't those places that move me on. I'm at a place where it says confirm booking.
You skip, you haven't, okay, you have to, I can't even go back to that, but I thought you're going to click confirm booking. You were going to check a little box down at the bottom.
Yes.
And then click confirm booking.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that step.
It's
sorry.
okay. No problem. Please stop me. All right. Now, do you have this screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So anytime you're going to add a guest to your booking, I will tell you when it is your first booking, if you're nervous about it, you can call Carnival groups. You can call Carnival's. I'm going to give you their number after this, but you also can call and do extension 70001. All right. Birth guest. And then you're going to put in any information. Now, if you're booking yourself and you clicked Interline, because that's how you get when you're booking a Carnival cruise and you want travel agent rates, you click Interline, it won't let you book that into your group. So you will see at the top, the first thing is my group rate right here. And right now the early saver rate is $3 less because they're going on their lowest rate is for a 4A and mine is for a 4B. But look how much less we are. The November savings sale, there's always a seasonal sale next that if you look at the details, it says refundable deposit subject to cancellation penalties. That means up until the final payment date, that code is refundable. Look already at how much less our group rate is, $632, than the November savings sale of $659. And so that's a savings already from the next available refundable rate. So it's already a less rate than they can, if they're actually comparing it. They might say, well, I can see one for $629, and you're going to say, yes, but that's a non-refundable rate and ours is a refundable rate. Anyway, over here, you want to put in information about your person. So I'm going to put in, I'm from North Carolina. I'm going to put in my daughter would just be thrilled that I'm doing this. All right, so it looks her up. And I look up everybody because some people say, I went on a cruise years ago, but I don't think it was Carnival, but actually they've been on a cruise. All right, so it gives me any rates that are applicable to her. So she's not a gambler, so she doesn't have to, well, it won't even show casino rates, honestly. But it shows all the rates. Generally, this is the rate I use. This right here, I want you to pay attention to this because this is important, even when you're not booking a group cruise, when you're booking a Carnival cruise at all. A good way to price your cruise is click interior rate. I usually do it for 2 people. Click continue. And it's going to say quick quote. Just click that and it gives you all the information about your room. So I can get, and what I do is I sit here and write this down for every type of room. For 2 people, a 4B is $1525.06. The deposit is $300, which is $150 per person for that cabin. And it shows you the due date, November 26th, and the final payment date, April 6th. And then if I'm trying to get pricing, you're going to want to do the pricing for 1 guest in an interior, an ocean view, and a balcony, 2 guests in an interior. So the way to do it quickly is then switch it to ocean view, do quick quote, and write that number down, your number, not my number. Every group's numbers are different.
Kelly,
Yes.
So sorry. I'm noticing, are you not adding in the gratuity for the pricing?
I'm about to address that, but
Sorry.
nope, you're fine. It is, that's a great question and probably a good time to go ahead and say it. So for these, you're going to see that it tells you the amount for Carnival vacation protection per person, and it tells gratuities, which you can add for all guests. For the purpose of marketing, I don't add it in, and then at the end, I write vacation protection is available for $109 per person. Gratuities of $69.95 may be prepaid, may be added to your final balance due, or can be charged to your account the next to the last day of the cruise or during your cruise. Sorry. But if I have a real young group or a group that I'm worried they're not going to pay gratuities, sometimes I'll just add it in. But typically I don't. I explain it, and most people choose to add it after that. Do I recommend Carnival insurance? Yes, I do. And I will tell you that I will say, I will do things like I will on my phone. I communicate in Messenger a lot, and on my phone, I will just search on my, like in the internet, I will just search Carnival vacation protection and open it, and then click the little up arrow like to share, and I'll copy that link and send it in Messenger to the potential client and say, and I send it to everybody I book the cruise for to say vacation protection is available. Here are the coverages, because then they can never come back to me and say, oh, I didn't know it didn't cover so and so. If they buy it and it doesn't cover something, I've sent them the link to the coverage and suggested that they review the coverages. So the current incentives that Carnival is offering to the general public, any incentive is related to a specific rate plan. So back when we were looking at all the rate plans, each rate code has different incentives. So this reduced deposit and onboard credit, when you see the details, the onboard credit and deposit are non-transferable and non-refundable. 50% is applied to sailings outside of final payment, blah, blah, blah. It says, price protection doesn't apply to group rates. No name changes are allowed. $50 per person fee. These things right here are the things that I tell people about why I recommend that they do the rate with the refundable rate deposit, because anything they do is going to cost money. You cannot do name changes. And a lot of times with groups, people say, oh, I want to go, I want to go. I think my friend so-and-so will go. And then that friend will come back and say, I can't go. And they'll be like, oh, I want so-and-so to go instead. And on those rates, there usually is a reason why people would rather pay for the group rate and have that refundable rate option. Oh gosh, I just lost my Zoom, sorry. To cancel this mock group will not cost you. Now, if you don't book any cabins into a mock cruise or into a cruise, it just disappears. If you haven't, you'll get an like an email. I mean, you can cancel this at the end of tonight if you want to, but you'll get an email that says like, not warning, but it's a reminder that your deposit is due by so-and-so date to keep those rooms. That $25 per person is going to be due. And that is at the point where then they're just going to close out that group. And next time you try to sign in, it'll say canceled. If there's one person booked, the group is good. It's good to go. They just drop all your cabins that you've held because you didn't put a deposit on them.
Kelly, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get the guest name put in there? So when I'm
Okay. Here, I'll do it.
Let's
Let's say
I saw you pull up your daughter's name, and that was great. And I was able to pull up one of my kids' names too, but I wasn't able to pull up my daughter. So I don't know if it's because she doesn't have a VIP number. So how do you put it in?
if she has sailed with Carnival, she should have a VIFP number.
Yeah, but did she have to be a certain age to get one? I don't know. I
No,
didn't think so. I don't know why she's not coming up unless I didn't do something right, but
I
see,
would
if they
just-
haven't sailed before, it won't come up there, right?
right. And I will say this, be sure after if you find it, you have to click apply filters for it to stay there. Like if I just come over here then and done put apply filters, it didn't have hers in there because I didn't do that a while ago. But after this, if you want me to try to help you find her, or you can call Carnival and ask why she doesn't have one.
Well,
Make
no,
sure
I
you're-
wasn't so worried about that. In other words, because I figured out, how it works because I put my son in there and he came up. So my question is, if they haven't sailed before, then how do you search them?
Okay.
Because
well, if they haven't sailed before, then you're just not gonna have anybody there. You're gonna click on interior if that's what they want. You're gonna click continue. And instead of doing a quick quote to just get your pricing to sell this cruise, you actually gonna book them. You're gonna click this
I need to go to the
and
next page.
continue.
Okay. All right, I wasn't there yet. Okay.
And then the fun begins. You start picking out rooms. I don't know if we have a lot of people who haven't sailed. If this person were doing an interior room, I would tend to pick out this one kind of close to these elevators, but not right. I probably wouldn't choose these right next to it. I would go 4 or 5 down, or this one. These up here, 14, whatever. They're kind of close to elevators, but not right on top of them. And then after you pick a room, and the other thing, if I'm doing a group and it's all people who know each other, I try to find a place that has several rooms together because it's fun for them to all be close together. Unless it's a honeymoon, and then I find the married couple a room one end of the ship and everybody else somewhere else, so they have some privacy if they want it.
Kelly, how do you know? Because you told us earlier about the 4B and the 4A and all that. From that picture, how do you know what those are?
It's only showing me 4Bs. It only showed me. Let me see if it'll let me go back a step. Yeah. I selected this category 4B at my group rate. If there is any that are available are going to show up right here. Now watch this. Let me see if it works. If I click on main, that's up a floor. And I can put them in the back of the main deck. So if somebody says, I'd rather be higher, but I don't want to pay anymore, I might put these people in the back of the main deck. And even the front, if you look at the front part, these right here are not way up in the front. I'm
Okay,
not gonna pick those, but if somebody has one in midship, I would keep them on the lower floor and put them in the middle.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a good question. All right, so after we pick our room and we continue, hit continue, and it already has the first guest in it because I had put her VIFP number. So if I were going to put, just make up somebody. That was horrible. I would put in all their information. And then I would put continue to review. So I've got all of my client information in there. Then I go here and I verify all the information. Now, I told you I keep a spiral notebook. I write down every cabin gets a full page. And then I leave the first 2 pages open, and that's where I list everybody. I'll show you that in a minute. But I just confirm all this information. This is Carnival Vacation Protection. I chose no for them. If it was added, it would be added. I did choose the gratuities, so this gives the total. And then unless you're booking a cruise that's soon and you don't have a choice of dining options, I always choose early for a group. I have had one group that asked for, it was a bachelorette party, and they asked for later because they wanted to be able to do the pool. And then here's the travel agent price breakdown. Look, it shows the commission right here. So for that cabin, and see, you don't get commission on taxes and port fees or the gratuities. You're only getting commission on the cruise rate. So I got 16% of this. And then I would confirm it. So if I have the credit card information, I'm going to make a payment, I would click make a payment. And then it walks you through making the payment. If I was not going to confirm it with the money yet, I would just hold option. And the booking is done. So at that point, I could send a confirmation letter to myself. Because when you click that, send confirmation, your email address should be here if you built your profile correctly with GoCCL. And I don't send it to partner bookings right now because this isn't real and I don't want IntelliTravel to get this. But so I can send this to me, and now it says message sent successfully. I also could type in their email address and send it. My daughter's gonna think I booked our cruise. And she would get the same confirmation email. A couple of things I want to show you down at the bottom. So this pricing summary, the agent view, if you're ever looking to see what they've paid and what the commission is and all of that, that's just the information about this cruise, that specific booking. If I need to make a payment, I click payment and I click make a payment. And I can do just the deposit and put in a card number and all of that. I can schedule an automated final payment on the same credit card for the final payment date. I have started saying to people, if you like, you can just put down a deposit now and we can schedule the final payment for April 6th, 2022, and it will automatically go to the same card. the good about doing that is I don't have to worry about them paying on time because Carnival is going to take care of it. So that's always nice. After I've done a payment, I always go back to the booking. And truthfully, if I had made a payment, I would send a confirmation to the client show that reflects, you know, the deposit paid and what the final payment is. You can go back to your group booking from here. Sometimes when you first start it, you'll have like 2 or 3 people. Hey, we're ready to book, and they're friends, they're talking. So I can go back to the group booking and start over for another cabin. But something else you can do is click guest list. And it shows you all your cabins that are booked, which is nice. And I keep everything that you just saw in that. I have that one line written down in the front of a notebook for each person that's in a group cruise that I have. Bobby Joe, yes, I especially if I don't know someone well and they aren't a repeat client, I always send them some kind of payment authorization. I took IntelliTravels and took IntelliTravel. I made one that says Oak Ridge Travel, but in the small print of it, I've included IntelliTravel. But yes, you can do that. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing and ask if any of you have any questions right now.
I
Yes,
have a
please.
question. This is Karen.
Karen?
My question is, Carnival has a monthly payment plan. And once they've been booked and they've given a deposit and all, can they sign up for that in a group? It's right on the Carnival page.
Yeah, I honestly don't know the answer to that. So I'm not going to pretend that I do.
Okay.
I don't know. I will find out. I'm going to make myself a note. I have pin group passenger. All right. I will find the answer. I mean, before Carnival did that, I offered payment plans, and you guys can do this too. If you have a cruise, say your cruise costs $1,000. When you market it, or if you do a flyer or you're in a group, you could say that it's going to require $150 deposit by December 15th, and then have $100. You can pick. I mean, you got to get that initial deposit at the rate that they need it. But after that, then you could say another 150 is due January 3rd, and another 150 is due. You know, it depends how far out, but you can create your own payment schedule. I do that sometimes, and then what I do in my calendar, I write a note that says girlfriend getaway, September girlfriend getaway payment. And all the people that chose to do that, I just make a note to go in that day and charge it. Their credit card information, once you've done a payment, saves. So it's very easy to make the payments after that, because you can just click the same credit card number. And
you personally can manually put it in.
yeah, because
every month.
Yeah,
Okay.
your clients, if you have somebody booked into a group cruise, they have to make their payments through you.
Okay.
So you're going to be in charge of that anyway. So you can still offer them a payment plan.
All right.
And I say to people, because I don't want to really do monthly plans, I'll say, I have some people who, well, I told you, well, yeah, I started saying a lot, you can make a payment now and then have your final, on the final payment due date, have the balance automatically charged to the same credit card. People like putting off paying to the last minute. So, and that's convenient because then they know it's going to happen, and it's convenient for you because you don't have to manually enter it. But I either have suggested payment plans specific, or I'll say you can contact me anytime to make a payment. So I do, after I have a group, like, how many of you actually just created a group that you think you're going to sell? Oh, good, Jackie. Glad to see that.
Mhm.
Good. Awesome. I love that. Yay. Okay, let me see if I can show you one of my group cruise books that I have going. Oh, here we go.
I do have a question though.
Yep.
When I clicked on like the individual like price and booking and stuff, it says that the deposit is due like tomorrow.
So you must have done.
But the cruise isn't until next October.
Did you? Okay, I don't know why that would be, because it would not be due tomorrow.
Right, and that's not what it said like when I was making the booking, but that's what it said when I clicked like the individual price within the booking. That makes sense.
Hey, Shelby, stay on at the end if you have time, and I can look at it and help you.
Okay.
Because I don't know why it would do that. All right, so
Right.
for every time I do a group cruise, I invest in a notebook. I see lots of questions. Let's see. If they say sailing says the group is closed.
Yes, Kelly, they said when I tried to put in a group, it said group closed or something like that. And so I was wondering.
You
yeah.
weren't trying to click on someone else's group that was already
No,
there.
it's like when I did the search, like we did at the beginning, it just said group bookings closed.
Okay.
So in other words, I'm guessing they're all filled.
Yes. So what happens is, like say now, say we all had done the same one for practice that I did, and then an agent from another agency tried to do it right now, and it would probably say it's closed because too many of us have rooms booked. But as people reach their deposit due date,
Okay.
it is possible that they'll open cabins back up for more groups.
Okay.
But I would call and ask them, because they may know something we don't know. Like think about like the week of ITQ. Obviously nobody can book a group on the Sunrise or whatever ship we're going on. So you can call Carnival and ask if they see a reason that that's closed.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
All right.
So I'm going to show you really quickly. On the front of my notebook, I always put the name of it so I can, because I have several going at one time. So I have notebooks, and I always have the booking number, which if any of you have any of you closed your group without writing down your booking number?
No.
If you be sure to write down your booking number. If you did, you can always search for the group, go to manage, not where it says booking, underneath there where it says manage, go to group cruises, type in your own date and ship, and it'll show you all the groups that are booked. And in fact, Lori, I think that was you asking about the Mardi Gras. You could do that too. Go and manage and click on group cruise and type in the date and see if there's already a bunch of cruises booked then.
Yeah, it actually showed me because it gave me 2 dates because I gave a range. I was looking at 2 different ones, and it did say group bookings, and I went and it showed me 3 that were already booked.
Yeah.
But the other one didn't have that, but it still said it was closed.
Yeah. Somebody may have the whole ship. Or sometimes if the casino has a big event going on, they invite a bunch of gamblers, then they close groups because they make money a different way, I guess, that week. All right, so in your notebook, the first page, actually I usually do it on the inside front cover, but this one is plastic and I couldn't write on it very well. I do my pricing. If you can see, look, it says like cabin for one, and I go ahead and get the price for each cabin, for each type of cabin. I don't know if you guys can see this at all. And then I do it for cabin for 2, cabin for 3, cabin for 4. So I have all the pricing for my group on one quick glance page. And then on the next page, as I book people, well, I list on one page. I wish I had one right here. I just. That's the one next to me. On the first page, write down everybody that books. I write their booking number, the last name, their cabin number. And then I write the commission out to the side because I like seeing the commissions. It's when you start filling up that page, like the one that had 64 people, that was fun to look at. But it also helps me. I write the room numbers on the left side, like to the left of their name. Then as people are booking, I can, when I'm like, if somebody wants a 6B, which is an ocean view, I can look and see where the other ocean view people in our group are and try to get them kind of close together. If I'm doing a group like a girlfriend getaway, a lot of times I want to go on the girlfriend getaway. And I do things like I take I give everybody a little swag bag with things like sanitizer, pink beads, with the VIP kid cruise I did one time, I did orange sunglasses, and because their color was orange. A lot of just fun little mints and a highlighter. And I usually I laminate something because I have a little small laminator. I'll print something that's like the logo of our cruise, the girlfriend getaway or whatever. And then I'll write notes and I'll laminate it and I'll give them an expo marker in their bag so they can leave it on their door. Or sometimes I'll go around and stick those on the doors of everybody in my group. And it makes people feel like they're part of a cohesive group. And it's a lot of fun to do that. So when I am doing the planning, I try to get the rooms sort of close together because I like the idea that if they walk down the hall, they're going to see other people with that same little sign on the door. And they're going to think, oh, they're one of us, or oh, I'm one of them, you know. So yes, I'm going to post pictures of the first page in the Facebook group. I don't know if you guys have been invited yet. I have somebody was going to work on possibly going ahead and inviting you during this. But if you did not get invited, you should. Has anybody already gotten invited, or do you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got mine.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So after this, I'm going to post some things in there, and then I'm every couple of, well, the next few days, I'm probably going to post a lot because I really want to help you guys figure out how to start marketing this, because that's important. And I'll give you some samples of what I send out to people in Messenger. So like one just said, I did not, but it says from iPhone. If we can't read your name, we didn't know who to invite. So send me if you didn't get invited to a group for this group, just message me. It's Kelly, all AHL, Paul. And you can find me in the Gold Star group and just send me a message. Don't tell me in chat, because I will, once this closes, I won't have access to that. But send me a message in Facebook Messenger, Kelly, all Paul, and I'll invite you in. But anyway, I hope that this at least help you get started. Is your cruise booked? I mean, is your cruise group created? Like, are you done with it?
Yes.
It's there. Okay.
Yes.
If any of you wish I would go back and like peek at your group, if you private message me and send me your group number, and I can try to peek at it and see if there's anything that.
Kelly, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
So when I went under quick quote, so I chose a room. I chose the Ocean View room, went in and then clicked under quick quote. then when I'm looking at the deposits, it's telling me $500 for a due date on November 27th. So I'm wondering what I'm looking at that's making this wrong.
That's what
'cause
Lynn was saying too.
Yeah, how soon is the group that you,
October 8th. So it's like the Vista next October.
Yeah, mine's October 22nd.
So when I on my payment guidelines, you know, it tells me January 21st. It's just this quick quote that isn't looking right.
I think that
agree.
it must be a glitch within Carnival. Because you're,
Okay.
the guideline for it is what it would. Oh, you know what is, if you're, it's telling you because it thinks you're trying to birth a cabin.
Right. So that's what I
You
was
only
trying.
birth a cabin with a deposit. So it's telling you it's due because it's due
Okay.
to birth a
Oh,
cabin.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have the guidelines. So worst comes to worst. Okay. So I reserved 12 rooms for this booking.
Mhm.
Say I only book 6.
Mhm.
So
You don't have to do anything with the other 6. In fact, I tried to call Carnival in groups and tell them that I did not need all the cabins. That I said, I feel like I only am going to sell maybe 2 more cabins, but I have like 15 more held. And the lady said, well, don't let go of them because the price goes up the minute you let go of them. Keep them, and then on the last date of that you get to make a deposit, they'll just fall off of your booking.
So my full payment, for us slow people here. So for my full payment is due on July 11th.
Uh-huh.
So in other words, if I have not filled all the rooms by July 10th.
No,
then-
the group will not cancel, and your people that booked will get to keep the rate that they had. I have such bad ADHD. I'm answering one question there and one to Kim. Sorry. Kim, for your question, the on your guidelines, what date does it say for the $25?
25 is January 21st.
So after January 21st, all the cabins that are not birthed are going to go away. Now, there's a way you can stop it from going away. Like if you know you're going to sell more than that, if you want to put, like, say I thought I was going to sell 10, I could put $250 on there, the way I showed you doing it without booking it, like just as Carnival pay. I could put $250 like as a deposit. That then I could hold 10 cabins until that next due date. If I were going to cruise on it, then I could just move that $250 to my room, to my own cabin. But meanwhile, I held those while I had more time to sell those 10 cabins.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that the whole, if I didn't sell them all, would raise, whoever I've already burnt, their cabin, their rate. That's what I've been concerned about the whole time. Well,
no,
along with I thought a bunch of money I was afraid to
as soon as somebody is, okay, if they've only put $25 down or whatever, like I said, I don't do that. I typically don't accept that or do that.
Right.
But if you do
Totally
that,
understand. Right.
By that date of that the 150 or 200 or whatever is due, they don't have a guaranteed cabin anymore. But if they have paid their deposit, whatever cabin confirmation you sent them, that rate, that group rate, they're locked in at that group rate. Even if you only sell 2 cabins out of your 8 or 10 or 12 or 15.
I'm going to be doing this a lot more. Okay,
yep.
Cool.
And the only thing, just remember, the only thing that can mess you up is I had an agent that I did this one-on-one with, and we talked about the fact that you should not tell people that they're getting any amenities until you know you have a solid group. Because my friend and I booked a cabin with her I did a group booking and she did one, and we were going to sell on it together. Told people that they were going to get a $50 onboard credit. And then she only had 2 cabins booked, and she felt like she had to give them $50 because she told them they were getting a $50 onboard credit. Do not tell people about the amenities until you know you have enough people, and then make it be like a added bonus or a surprise, or as a thank you for those of you that have booked, or surprise, guess what? Today, I am putting an onboard credit of $50 on every cabin that's booked by midnight tonight, including those of you that have already booked. Use it to get some more bookings, or just to say thank you to the people. One of the fun things, and we're going to do another training later about, it's the training I just did with leaders in Gatlinburg about now how to market your cruise and what to do with your cruise. Because now you have one book, those of you that were there, we can actually, the things we talked about then, we can actually apply them and go through together and do it. So we're going to, in that group, I'll tell you a time that I will do a training similar to the one I just did in Gatlinburg. That's going to really help you actually sell the cruise that you just created. And I'm excited for you guys. Like, just imagine if half of us sell, have a productive group cruise, how much commission we generate right here, just in this little group.
Kelly,
Are you saying that the rooms that are not booked fall off by the first date or the second date?
By the date that you have to have $25 per cabin for them to stay. And I know, I mean, like I said, if I know I'm going to have like the VIP kid cruise, I knew I would have a bunch of cabins. I easily would have put down $250 to hold 10 cabins or whatever. Actually, it's $50 per cabin. So, because it's $25 per person, and they're always talking about a cabin for 2. So to hold 10 cabins, I really would have to put down $500. But if I'm going anyway, and Carnival will always give it back. If I put $500 on my credit card, if I call them and say, hey, there's $500 that says Kelly Paul in my Carnival pay, I want to get that refunded. They'll refund it right then. But you're not going to need to do that. You're going to sell it. It's good.
And that is encouraging, Kelly. Thank you. Yeah, you're going to sell them and then you're going to add more, and we can get into that, because I started with 20 and ended with 40. But quick question. And I know you're probably going to get into this in the next training, but I almost swore that I saw like a barcode scan thing with the payment section information, or is that to come? No, maybe I saw a barcode something.
No, nothing I know about.
Okay.
If I find out though, I'll definitely get back to you. All right, I made a note about that. Actually, I'm supposed to be talking to our BDM tomorrow, so good time to get these questions. All right, anything else anybody wants to know right now? And then if not, watch the post in that group. And if you message me, I will invite you into the group, or ask somebody else that's in here that you know, and they can invite you in. Please do not invite anybody into that group that did not attend this training, because that group is specifically for this group. So I want to help the people that showed up tonight. As I think we're going to offer this on a replay, and then we'll add those people in as we do it. I appreciate you guys being here. This was fun for me. I love Carnival. I tell you, if you start booking a lot of Carnival, they're really good to you. Our BDM invited me to sail on the Mardi Gras for 100% free. She said she'd cover taxes and port fees and everything the first week it sailed. And I was not able to go because I was going with some of my agents to Las Vegas that week. But they recognize you at Carnival when you start selling a lot of groups and a lot of things, and they really are good to you. I've had a couple of times where I've had other agents that were in my group go, and they've given us tours of the ship, kind of behind the scenes and stuff, and they will take very good care of you when you start selling a lot. So
Kelly, can I ask one more question?
Mhm.
I started over because I felt like I was going too fast, you know? But when I got to this page, it says there are 0 amenity points selected for this group. That I have to wait until I have 5 rooms booked to
to
get in.
assign. Yeah, it says that in red at the top of that
Yes.
page, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and it says it must be assigned by what date?
By June 20th.
Okay, so that means June 20th is your final payment due date, right?
Okay.
And
all right.
so you have around that time, you're going to want to assign them, and you can assign them now, but they usually say wait till you have 5 cabins booked and then call and assign them. Some of my groups, I wait to see kind of the type of people that are going, because one of the options is like a 2-hour cocktail party, and some groups that I know would love that, and other groups that I know have no interest in that. So I
Right.
just kind of wait and fill out my audience. A lot of times after I have my group going, I create a Facebook page that is fun and festive, and I'll talk about it in our Facebook page. And I invite anybody that I think might be interested into that group. So I'll create one like you are invited to the ultimate girlfriend getaway, and I'll have a picture of the ship and then post stuff, fun pictures about like girlfriends walking down the beach or whatever, or the Serenity deck on a certain ship or whatever. And the first thing, which I pin at the top, is that you are cordially invited to join us on the Ultimate Girlfriend Getaway, September 27th, 2021. I just did this and I wrote it so many times. And then I had the pricing and whatever. And then I, like, once a week or so, I would put in something fun. Like I would put a picture that said karaoke, and I would say, karaoke, anyone? If you were doing karaoke, what song would you be singing? And that got the people kind of involved in the group, and it became a lot of fun. And that was what I call my prospect group. It wasn't for people who had already booked, it was for people I was trying to sell it to. And so I got those ladies all involved, and then they start booking. And then after I have 5 booked, I start another group with the same name, but I put in all capital letters booked. And in that group, I do things like show them the t-shirt design for the shirts we're going to wear, or, specific stuff about the ports or the cheers plan or the link to the vacation protection or different things. But there are ways to get people involved along the way that help you build a community that's interested in whatever it is you're trying to sell. So, all right, we'll close with that unless anybody has anything else they want to answer right now. All right. I greatly appreciate you all being here.